There we go. Hello. Good morning. How's it going? Feeling much better today. I'm back on the kombucha. Gonna light some sage. Hi, Stephanie. Good morning, sweetie. Hi, Anita. Hi, Summer. I'm feeling much better. Thank you, darling. Hi, Leanne. Hi, Ariel. Hi, Katya. Hello, hello. So good to see you guys. Thank you. I'm feeling so much better today. My poor little guy is not. He's sick right now. Got my baby now, unfortunately, but at least I got over it in 3 days. I'm hoping he's going to have the same thing. Because, that was a rough. It hit me out of nowhere. Like on Tuesday when I was hanging out with you guys, I started to feel really weird. And then by about 3 hours later, it got me. I was down for the count. That was sweeping. I mean, that was so quick. But as quick as it hit, it's as quickly gone, surprisingly enough. And I was surprised as what it was too, because I asked my guides. I was like, what the hell is this? And they said, well, it's a mix of things, really. They said it's a bit of COVID, a bit of flu, a bit of this or that. I'm like, ugh. So I was expecting to be down for the count for like at least a week. So very much gratitude for my soul guides for putting me in the healing bubble, because I have a feeling they're the reason why I'm feeling so much better so quickly. So they have little Aiden in my healing bubble right now because he's not well either. So in fact, we even had to postpone his birthday party. Aiden's birthday party was for tomorrow. So he's going to have to wait a whole month because we're going to be away to South Africa. But he's understanding. He could tell he's not with it right now. Poor little guy. So make sure that you guys are also focusing on self-care, doing some healing, because there's a lot of funky stuff going out in the collective right now. You guys are so sweet. Thank you. Summer says, I feel like we sent you a giant healing wave. Move it along. Yes. So please send it to Michelle's hubby, for example, now, because Michelle's hubby has it. So we'll send it to him. And little Aiden as well. He definitely needs a little bit of healing, but I'm sure he'll be healing quickly as well. Children bounce back so fast most of the time. So fingers crossed. But it's really good to see you guys. How is everyone? What you guys been up to? Did I miss anything? I see there was a big tragedy yesterday, which I wasn't even aware of until this morning when I checked in, and because I don't watch the news, as you guys are probably well aware, I do not watch the news. I get all my news from the collective. So when there's some shit going down, I can tell because I'm getting bring, 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 all my messages going crazy. And so, yeah, it's very, very tragic about the 67 people that were killed in that helicopter and plane crash yesterday. So we will be doing a lost soul rescue to make sure that they've crossed over. I'm just waiting to hear back from a medium that is available. And I'll see if we can record that one so you guys can, be a part of that, because I'm sure many of you are quite concerned for those who have died. And yeah, they're one of the main reasons people are concerned is they're well aware about those darn death loops that people, whenever you die in a plane crash or something like that, it does make it's very strange. And this is actually a side effect of the 3D matrix, apparently, where you end up re-experiencing your death over and over and over again. So we're going to make sure that doesn't happen for them, or at least doesn't continue happening for them. But to be honest, I'm actually curious about other plane crashes that have occurred. Like, how do we know the people from Lockerbie have crossed over? I mean, maybe they have, but time doesn't exist on the other side. And so what could feel like hours for them could actually be years for us. So there's a lot of plane crashes that have occurred that I hate to say it, I feel like almost all of them need to be freaking checked now, because I don't have confidence in big tragedies and these things being, addressed. Especially because when you go in certain areas and you realize that there are spirits that have been there for 1,000 years sometimes that have not crossed over. These were drowning victims that we checked. There were people over 1,000 years who had drowned in a bay and they were still there. So yeah, this is one of the things that is really important to check. And we will make sure that we do so as soon as possible. Jennifer says, Laura, Aaron put you in the Ramara healing bubble yesterday. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Much gratitude for all the healing. Didn't Dolores say that the soul gets whipped out on impact? I actually have already checked someone who died in a plane crash. It's a very sad story. There's this couple that flew everywhere together. I don't know what the husband did. I don't know if he was a doctor or what, but he and his wife used to fly all the time. He was a pilot. He had his own plane. And one day he asked his wife, I'm going to go up and blah, 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 and do this flight. And she didn't go with him that one day. And that was the day that the plane crashed. It actually exploded in midair. So obviously his wife, who was on the ground, was absolutely devastated. And she contacted us to make sure he's crossed over. And when we tuned into his energy, he was not crossed over. He was still exploding in midair, re-experiencing the explosion over and over and over again. He didn't even know he was dead. He was in a loop. So, and that had happened years ago. So I'm not sure how long these things can occur. I mean, it could almost, I asked actually one of the guides and he said it could be even indefinitely if it's not addressed. So, and I asked, is this a thing on other planets? Like, does this actually happen? Nope. That is a side effect of the 3D matrix. So we have yet another thing to be grateful for when the 3D matrix gets dismantled. Because yeah, that is insufferable. I couldn't even imagine doing that over and over and over and over again. I mean, we've seen that in movies. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a Supernatural episode where somebody died and they experienced death like 1,000 times in a row, and it broke their brain. So James says, in a loop? Yes, in a loop where he was literally exploding over and over and over again. And I know that sounds horrific, but it's the truth. If you guys want sugarcoating, this is not the page for sugarcoating, because I tell you how it is. I tell you straight completely. And unfortunately, that means there's going to be a lot of uncomfortable things that we find out, because not everything is black and white. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who, including Dolores, I love her so much, but yeah, she sugarcoated stuff. And it's almost like things were romanticized in a way. And when you romanticize things, you end up removing a lot of the context that's very important for people to understand why things happen the way they do. So Natalie says, do you think, though, that sometimes it's just soul shards that have remained in that loop? If that was true, if it was just the soul shards that were remaining in the loop, then when we tuned into the man's energy, we would be tuning into him in heaven or wherever he would be. Because when we tune in, when we say a person's name during a lost soul rescue, when the medium tunes into that person's energy, you go to where their perception is. You go to where their consciousness is focused, right? Because everything is all about perception. The reason you have the perception that you have right now is because you've chosen that body that you're in. But if you're no longer in that body, then your perception is still focused on whatever your soul is focused on. So that's what the soul guides take us to. They take us to what you are perceiving at that moment. And that was what he was perceiving over and over and over, exploding. So we did help him cross over. He went to the light, and now he is no longer in that experience. And he is able to actually contact his wife through us. And it was beautiful, the messages he was sending to his wife. He actually told her about, he said to us, tell her to remember the teddy bear and the golf course. And we're like, huh? So we said this to her because it doesn't make any sense to us. Teddy bear and a golf course. She sent us a picture. He gave her as an anniversary present a giant teddy bear that was like bigger than her. It was sitting at the golf. He gave it to her when they went golfing. It was actually sitting in their golf cart when they walked up to go golfing. It was a giant, like life-size, like 7-foot tall teddy bear that he had in the golf cart. And that is what he was referring to. And she said that was her response to us. That message that he gave us for her was, she sent us the picture of the teddy bear. So can you imagine how sweet, you know what I mean? How healing that was for her to one know that there's a message for her that he's still around, that she's actually in connection with him. Because so many of us, we lose a loved one, and then when we have that disconnect, we forget that they can see and hear everything that we're going through. I should say, once their perception has gone passed over. Because yeah, as an earthbound, that makes it difficult because many of them as earthbounds are still locked into whatever their experience were. Um so hi Melody. Oh my god, I just tuned in spontaneously just to ask a question. Then I see you're having live. Perfect. Maybe I can ask away later. Sure, Melody. Ask any question you like, darling. Happy to answer. Interested to know about the sugar coating. We're just talking about lost souls and what happens when people are earthbound, because many of us who are stuck when we die, it's very complicated. Like, it's not, a lot of people just think, oh, when I die, my loved ones are going to come and cross me over. It's not that easy because most earthbounds are, I shouldn't say most, the ones who die a tragic death are very emotional, and those emotions can get in the way of crossing over properly. So we just kind of open the doorway, help to alleviate the confusion, call their loved ones over, and their loved ones help to gather them and cross them over. So Jessica says, I received a message from my cousin last night in the intuitive class I was in. The medium finished my sentence as I quoted him. Oh, that's beautiful, Jessica. It is really healing to know that our loved ones are still there. Today is my best friend's birthday. My friend Joey V, who passed away on 7/13/07. Today's his birthday today, and every year on his birthday, I celebrate. I don't even drink beer, but I usually do drink one beer for him, one small one anyway, because that was his thing. He absolutely loved it, especially those fancy designer, what do you call it, the small brewery types. Absolutely loved those. And I just sit and talk with him. I honored him for his birthday. Sometimes I even make like a, little cake or something, and just a small little thing, and I celebrate for him as if he's still around, because he is. 100% he's still around. Craft beer, thank you. Yes, he was obsessed with those. He didn't like any of the commercial shit. So maybe today that's what I'll do, since I'm feeling much better. I haven't drank a beer in years, probably. So we'll actually do that for him today, considering I'm mentioning him. But, anything that your loved ones appreciated, if it's a grandmother, for example, make her favorite cup of tea. Make her favorite cup of tea and maybe one of her little favorite desserts. Sit down at the table and have a conversation with her. Just call in her energy and just update her. Pretend you're sitting there talking with her, because you are. If you call in their energy, you sit down with them and you have a conversation. And if you quiet your mind, right? And if you just silence everything for a few minutes, you may actually notice you're hearing a response. So it's really, thank you guys so much for the sweet comments. Oh, I bet you he's honored. He's probably here right now. I bet you I'll feel him poke me in a second now that I'm talking about him. He's always poking me and stuff. So I guess I have a sense of peace when I talk to the archangels and my guides, and I know they listen and assist. And you don't even have to speak to them out loud, that even if you are speaking to them in your own head, they can hear you. So just be aware that, they can hear you more now than they could when they were still living. Jessica says, quiet my mind. What's that? Focus on your breathing. That is what I do. As an ADD brain, I know how difficult that sounds, because I have the same challenge myself. But if you listen to quiet tones, or if you focus on your breath, it makes it easier to quiet the mind. My friend's toddler has 104 fever and is currently in the hospital. If y'all send me some healing to him, please. Lindsay, can you send me his name and what hospital he's in, and I'll check him? Send me the name privately, will you, please? And I will check him. I'll check him immediately after the podcast. Because we aren't messing around when it comes to the babies. Nope. We check the babies. We always check the babies and make sure they're okay. And I will get some extra protection for the little one as well. Hi, Cricket. I paid for a lost soul rescue for someone that was murdered in our area, and he was from Louisiana, and I live in Illinois. I asked the family if I could do this for them, and they said yes. Will he answer you since the order came from a complete stranger? They always do. They're always grateful for the help. You know what's funny though? One person booked like a family, it was like a lost soul rescue for anyone that's like died in their family. There were like, I think 4 or 5 family members that they wanted us to check. And as I was going through the list, checking the individual family members, there was one, it was like one was crossed, one was not crossed, one was crossed, one was not crossed. So when I tuned into one of the ones that had crossed, I think it was like an uncle or something, he laughed his butt off. He thought it was the funniest thing. He was like, really? Like a lost soul rescue? Like he thought it was the most hilarious concept that we would be coming in to make sure he's okay. He was grateful, but he just thought it was hilarious. A lot of souls actually do kind of find it amusing, especially the ones that have crossed over, because they're kind of like, oh, hey, thanks for checking on me. You know, they're really excited to actually be checked on. But the ones that have not crossed over, they're just relieved. They're just really, really grateful. That's the main thing that we've noticed. Not one person has ever said, okay, I refuse to cross over. I'm not crossing over. Every single one of them has crossed over because, you know, even though some of them are reluctant to at first, as soon as we open the doorway and their loved ones start coming through, they're relieved. They're so happy that they're not alone. And they do feel alone when nobody's responding to them. They may not be alone. They may be following their loved ones around who are still living, but nobody's responding to them. They're being completely ignored. Not intentionally, it's just nobody can hear them anymore. So they do feel very lost and confused and alone in many cases. So when they find someone coming over for them to help them out, they're very, very grateful, even if it's a stranger. Especially when their soul guides are involved, because their soul guides are just so relieved that they're getting the help. Hello, my uncle died in a terrible airplane crash in the late 1980s. I never met him, but I know about him and I often think about him, and I believe he is in the light. Yep, it is entirely possible. You just never know. You really never know until you check. So that is the thing. I just feel better checking, you know? Good morning. I have a question. Can you ask your guides if in the Grand Canyon was a Sphinx, please and thank you? So, Elizabeth, that's a really cool question, and I have a really awesome documentary thing for you to watch. It's one of my favorites. There is a man named Mr. Mythos. Where is it? Mr. Mythos, Grand Canyon. He's got something called Inner Earth Conspiracy Theories on YouTube. And oh my God, it's so good. It's really amazing. Wait till you guys watch it. And you probably have already seen it before, some of you, because I've talked about this before. There's a couple really amazing ones. In fact, his whole thing on Inner Earth is incredible. There's one about the tunnels under Malta that is really good. There's a couple about Agartha and a few other Inner Earth ones that are just, it's phenomenal. But the one that I just shared right there is the one about the Grand Canyon. And it talks about the Sphinx. There's a Buddha. They found a Buddha in a cave system under there. So they found a Siddhartha in the Grand Canyon. And of course, the what do you call it? That stupid, oh my God, my brain is just not working today. What is it called? That organization that stole all the skeletons. What is it called? I'm sure one of you guys know who I'm talking about. So the case has been reopened. I missed that part. So yeah, there's the link if you guys want to check it out. It's a phenomenal video talking about all these things. And yeah, I'm pretty sure they did mention that there's a Sphinx. Scrolling back up because I missed a bunch of comments. Hi, Nadine. Good morning. There we go. I'm back where I was. Melody says, I can't find my comments, so here it is again. Yesterday I was taking the long distance train to home, and I saw you had shortly interacted. I saw and shortly interacted with a handsome, sweet guy. He was sit next to me. I had to handle this well, but it didn't go like the universe probably wanted to orchestrate it. So now I am very curious to know if a channel could know a stranger's name. Well, that's a good question. Anything is possible. It's really interesting. It's almost like there's divine appointments. And when you notice somebody that is standing out like that, there's probably a reason for it. Although names, keep in mind that names is really difficult for spirit sometimes because obviously, you know, when you've got millions of people, billions of people here on the planet, and you're trying to tune into one person's energy, it's not always easy to get a name. But it's worth a shot. You never know unless you ask. Got to ask intelligently. Mira says, I had a psychic tell me my soulmate was trying to get me to come there like he always had, except there's, oh, interesting. You know, it reminds me of something that I heard yesterday. One of my wonderful clients yesterday I did a clearing on. She asked me about a fingerprint that she has. And it's actually, it's in her palm. Like it's part of her fingerprint. So it's like somebody's fingerprint as a part of her fingerprints. Like you can tell it's like somebody superimposed a fingerprint on her hand, she said. And so that was one of her questions. Like, why do I have that on my hand? Can you answer that? And so I asked her soul guides about it for her as part of her clearing, because she got a detailed clearing, which is half clearing, half mediumship reading. And that was one of her questions. And the really interesting thing is that it was the soul gate. Can I speak of it? It was a soulmate's fingerprint from a past life. It was her best friend. And her best friend is not currently incarnated right now. I'm pretty sure that her best friend is actually one of her soul guides, or is at least looking after her right now. But isn't that beautiful that her best friend had that tattoo? Honestly, it actually made me a little emotional when the soul guide said that. I was like, oh, you imagine being so close to somebody that you actually ask for them to put their fingerprint on your hand as part of you when you're in your next life? Like, imagine how much they must love each other. That's so beautiful. Sending you big hugs, Maria. So anyway, yeah, it's just, that made me so emotional yesterday because I'm like, that is so sweet. So you never know. There are parts of you that you may have actually chosen in order to honor someone else. And that's what that was. That was her way of staying connected and honoring that person. So even though they're not like incarnated right now, they're still with them. They're probably with them every day. And it probably means the world to them for them to now know that that is actually a part of them. You know, I bet you her best friend is like on the other side, like, oh, yeah, she knows. So I love you too. Mwah. So yeah, it's so beautiful. The things that we can learn from our spirit guides, it helps. It really does. It helps us to stay connected to spirit. It helps us to understand ourselves better. So, just reading through the comments. Jessica says, oh my God, I have a bestie soul guide from another incarnation from medieval times. Oh, that's so sweet. See, this is the thing, you know, especially for those of you who are earth seeds. You guys have a long list of friends that you've made here on this planet. It's kind of reminds me of like high school. You know what I mean? Like when you grow up with all of those people, you've known them since like kindergarten, right? But then when you're a star seed, it's almost like you're in college, you're like a high school transfer. It's like you come in at the last minute when everybody already knows each other really well and you're trying to make new connections and you're kind of the oddball out. Like, speaking from experience, I was one of those. So I know what it's like. It's really nice to actually have, this is one of the reasons why so many star seeds have galactic besties around, because that is where all the people you've made connections with from long time ago. So one person had an interesting question. He just says, I have a weird question. Did Kurt Cobain cross over? I have no idea. I tend to stay the hell away from celebrities. There's a lot of bad juju wrapped up in the celebrities. That's why so many of them suffer the way they do. You know, fame has a very heavy price. fame and wealth can have a very, very steep price. And unfortunately, many of the celebrities are dealing with some very intense dark contracts. And that's why there's so, like, look at the 27 Club for a perfect example of this. I'm pretty sure most of them were taken out for whatever reason. I'm not sure. Obviously, I haven't done that much research into it, but I actually would like to. I wonder if there's a soul guide that would help me do that. But like I said, it is kind of risky to be involved in any of the celebrity stuff because, like I said, that's where the bigger baddies tend to focus their attention. Donna says, Laura, you posted information about to get us ready yesterday. Is that post vanished? It's on my private page, Donna. It's not on my public one. One of my friends, and since Donna mentioned it, I'll mention it. One of my friends who works, she's a manager at a store, and she's not exactly a muggle friend, but she does she does think a lot of the shit I say is completely batshit crazy. I'm not gonna lie. She's open-minded, but a lot of it she's like, yeah, okay, whatever you say, go smoke another one. That's but she's sweet about it. Well, anyway, as you guys know, I've been talking about the possibility of the grid going down for about a year now, ever since we had that warning from Chen. And, many of us were very well prepared for it. And we expected it to happen right around the election, and it didn't. So we almost got lulled into this false sense of security, like, we're fine now. I guess nothing's going to happen. Cool. Well, yesterday, my friend called me going, holy shit, Laura, you're not going to believe this. And I was like, what? And she says some woman just came in and she dropped like $400 on supplies like batteries and flashlights and candles and other stuff, like random survival stuff and food and things. And she's like, what is going on? And this woman said, well, she goes, I know this is going to sound really crazy. She goes, but my sister called me this evening. This is the customer. And she says, and my sister, she works for the federal government. Mm-hmm. And she says the sister that works for the federal government warned her that the grid will be going down. And she basically was like, yeah, the grid is going down and you have to make sure that you have cash in hand. She says, make sure you pull out at least $1,000 in cash to make sure that you have cash because you won't be able to pull money out. And she told my friend this, and my friend was like, and as soon as the customer left with her boxes and boxes and boxes of supplies, she immediately ran in the back and called me and was like, Laura, you're not going to believe this. So I have no idea. That's all I know. I don't know anything else, but I did on my personal page yesterday. I just explained a little bit about what she said. I don't know anything more than that. That is all my friend told me, but I do find it very curious. Curious there and curious there. We are trying to figure out what's going on, and things are getting really weird right now. Have you guys noticed like how seriously weird things have been going? So as usual, I have no fear because I am choosing my own timelines. All the timelines I'm choosing are serving me to my highest good. I do not live in fear. I only manifest my timelines that have my highest good. So I'm just prepared for anything, right? Just prepared for anything. Just make sure you have extra stuff to keep you warm and to keep you fed and keep you hydrated during times of potential unrest, because things are getting really, really weird lately. And I hate to say it, but in America, we get lulled into this false sense of security and safety. I've lived in third world countries for many years and several different third world countries. And to be honest, like, when your infrastructure is not reliable, most people already are kind of prepared. Like, they already have extra things all around just in case. Like, people, if they can afford it anyway, they're already kind of like, they have backup plans ready to go. But here in America, we're just like, oh, well, shit, it's the fan, I'm screwed. Not everybody's like that. There's a lot of people that have extras just in case, and that always make sure, even for things like storms, it's a good idea. Think about the people in North Carolina, right? And how many of them, if any of them had listened to our warnings that went back all the way to February, they would have been more prepared for all the shit that had happened. So we do actually have a group that we are, always discussing these things in. That's the Collective Preppers group. Thank you, Chantal, for mentioning that. Spelled like that if you want to look it up. But we have a group where we already discussed these things, where we're just giving each other ideas on how to make sure that we are self-reliant. Self-sustainability is one of the most important things you can do for personal empowerment ever. Because if you think about it, right, 100 years ago, this is normal. 100 years ago, it would be normal to have a winter supply in the basement. It would be normal to make sure that you had, kerosene for heat or extra wood for heat. You can't even get a wood-burning stove installed. My mom has been trying for 6 months. Nobody's willing to install the wood-burning stove here. You can't even get one installed. Everything is fucking gas or electric now. So it's like the people who are able to kind of go back to the grassroots, those are the ones that have the least to worry about things. Those who are accepting personal responsibility for their needs and not depending on corporations and the government, you guys are the ones that are really in like perfect situation. Because unfortunately, if they were to pull the rug out from underneath us, my God, it would be so ugly here. It really would. So just in case, you never know what the government is up to. You never know what dirty shit the politicians are going to do next. Regardless of who is in power, I don't care. All of them have a potential to really screw shit up. So just be aware that anytime there is a possibility to just have all of your bases covered, right? No reason to get afraid, no reason to stress about it and, to go out panic buying or anything, because that is not what I'm telling you guys to do. I'm just saying, make sure you have extra little bits and bobs here and there. I have 1 box of candles, I have, like, when I say 1 box, I mean like, I've got enough to probably last me 6 weeks in food, water, medicine, and all of those things. That is probably a really good gauge to make sure that you're covered just in case things get really weird. Because like I said, things are getting weirder by the day. If you guys hadn't noticed, weird things are happening every day and you just never know. Better safe than sorry, right? Especially when your family's health and safety are a potential, thing to be concerned about. Summer says, I'm thankful we have an old wood burning stove. I have one too. My house is kind of old. Mine was installed in 1978 and I love it. I love it. Seriously, wood burning stove is the best thing I have in my house. It's unfortunate that you can't even get one installed. Like, my mom spent like $600 on this Rolls Royce it's a gorgeous thing. It was casted in Shropshire, and I don't even know how the hell it got all the way over from England here. But it was beautiful, mid-condition, nearly 100 years old. Can't even get somebody to put it in for her. So frustrating. Any other questions? I'm also prepared for hurricane season. Nice one, Susan. See, it just helps to know that you're getting your shit covered. If you remember what happened to Adriana, my wonderful friend Adriana Garay, she lives in Grenada. She lives in the third world country. I went to visit her not too long ago. And the infrastructure there is not the best. Third world countries, usually that's all by design. So when she had the warning from Chen in February, she went out and got solar panels. She went and got food and water and all the things that she would need. And then there was like this massive, it's like a hurricane that hit the island. I'm pretty sure it was a hurricane that hit the island. She was the only one that had power and water. She was the only one that had all of those things covered because of the warning. So it wasn't even what we expected it to be for, but she was covered because she listened to Jen. So you never know why you might need to listen. Just make sure all your bases are covered. Michelle says, Laura, we installed our own wood stove. It can be done. How did you do that? You have a handy hubby, though, don't you, Michelle? It was your handy hubby that did it. I bet you. Because I'm not as handy. Nope. Insurance companies won't insure wood stoves anymore. That is also true. Yep. Yeah, insurance, that's also another problem, is they're always messing with the insurance too with those things. Anything else you guys want to discuss today? Still waiting to hear from one of the mediums about the Lost Soul Rescue. Thank you, Lindsay, for sending me that email. I got it now. I will check as soon as I finish the podcast. They got flooded too where they lived, didn't they, Adriana? Yeah, they had really bad mudslides. That's one of the reasons why her Wi-Fi is still being a bit spotty lately, is they're still trying to repair the damage from the damn mudslides. So, yep. Can you give examples of things getting weird? Well, to be honest, I can probably, like, if you think about it, everything that's going on right now is weird. All the stuff in the politics is weird. There's a lot of, like, just arguments in general that are happening, like the way that people are placing blame on each other, like the stuff with the drones and things. Now they're trying to say that the FAA gave permission for that to happen, and the FAA is like, what are you talking about? It's funny how things are, it's like there's so many lies going on in the airwaves right now. You can see all the bullshit is clear as day. And not only that, but just the weather and the energies. We've had a lot of planetary alignments. We've got a 7-planet alignment coming in February. 7 planets on parade. I imagine that's going to get real interesting. All the fires and all the shit. I mean, things are going to get crazier. Have you seen the podcast Telepathy Tapes? I have. Oh my God, they're so good. I think I'm on like episode 5. I got distracted when I got sick, so I didn't get a chance to finish them yet. So yeah, the Telepathy Tapes are phenomenal. I love them. I think they're great. Something's wrong with my chair. It keeps making me shrink. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked out the Telepathy Tapes on YouTube, make sure that you do. They're phenomenal. In fact, I'll give you the link for that as well. Giving you guys a whole bunch of things to watch this weekend. The Mr. Mythos videos are really good, and the Telepathy Tapes. You guys can binge like crazy this weekend. There we go. Telepathy Tapes. I have actually sent an email out to one of the people that was on this. If she agrees to come on the podcast, that would be wonderful. Because yeah, there's a lot of people that are interested in these telepathy tapes right now. In fact, some of the views are crazy. How much was that one view? Well, actually, it's not too much. Where's the first episode? It's got about 60,000 views, which for a podcast about telepathy is pretty good. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out yet, make sure that you do. There's the link. Telepathy Tapes. Just absolutely phenomenal discussion, especially for the children. I mean, I think it's gonna make waves in the what are they called? The special needs community. Because so many children that are nonverbal, if they find out that they're actually telepathic, like, can you imagine how much that would actually change society in itself? And one of the youngsters said that, you know, this would actually, it's like it's tipping the scales when so many of them are coming through with this. I mean, if it was like 1 or 2 children or even like a dozen children, it would give people an opportunity to be like, oh, it's just special cases. But this is like, I'm telling you, could be even hundreds of children, if not thousands of children all over the world that are able to prove they're telepathic. So, but this is just part of the shift, you guys. This is just because the frequency is raising and there are more gifted children that are coming in to express that the frequency is raising. And as the frequency rises, there's going to be more spirits that are coming in here. There was a real tragedy that I mentioned the other day where this beautiful 5-year-old boy perished to an asthma attack. And this case really deeply affected me. because I don't even know why. I just got so emotional trying to help this family. And when we helped the little boy cross over and everything. And when we dug into the situation as to why the little boy had such a hard time here, we found out that he is this extremely high vibe Pleiadian, that the frequency was so high. He came from such a high vibrational place that his body just couldn't handle it down here. The vibration was too, it's almost like it's sticky, it's heavy, it's very dense, and you know what I mean? Like, it's very difficult for souls that come from very high frequencies, other alternate, dimensions and things. When they come from, the higher the frequency they come from, the more difficulty they tend to have down here in this very low, dense, heavy frequency, if that makes sense. So this is why he was struggling from asthma his whole life. And this is also why, he ended up leaving. He was just tired of the struggle. He couldn't handle it down here. And as much as he really wished he could have stayed with his family, it's almost like this planet it's too dense and heavy for somebody of such high spirit, high vibe. So as we raise the frequency, as we clear all the shit out of here, all the low vibe stuff, all the entities that are preying on people, and just start transmuting and cleansing and clearing and all of the things that we're doing for this planet, every day that we do that, we make it easier for the high vibe spirits to anchor themselves and to stay. And, it is, it's just devastating when someone you love that much is unable to stay because the planet is too dense, is too heavy, and too harsh for them. But at the same time, we are here to fix that. That's why we're here. Many of us starseeds are here to make a change in all of this. So it just furthers my resolve in all of this work, and in expressing the importance of all of the clearings and the cleansings, and the importance of the 5D shift. Because the higher the frequency goes, the more help we're going to get. Because for those of you who are unaware, it's like areas of very low density, areas that are very, very dark, right? It's like the vibration is so low that even high vibe entities have a difficult time coming in to clear that space, right? And it's also true that if you make your home a very high frequency place, by playing singing bowls and smudging regularly, by having high vibe music and joy and laughter and all those things that keep the home happy, do you know that you actually make your home an inhospitable environment for entities? So it's the exact opposite. When a place is so dark, a light being can't get in there. When your place is so light, a dark being can't get in there. So it's like you're creating zones of high frequency that it pushes the darkness out, right? Well, that is what we're doing on this planet. We're making this whole freaking planet a high frequency zone, and we're going to kick all those bastards out. That is the plan. So, and we are doing this more and more every single day. Every day we are doing this. Every time we do even just one clearing on one person, the frequency is going up. But the difficulty is, and the problem is, and a lot of people are asking me, like, where are we in the shift? Where are we when it comes to, moving into 5D? Like, somebody asked me yesterday, are we already in 5D? Somebody told me we're in 5D right now. And I'm like, are we? I don't see any aliens. Do you? I don't see any entities. I don't see, fairies are different, because fairies, they don't move up and down in frequency. They actually kind of move sideways. They're multidimensional in a different way. So they can actually hide themselves in between different layers and vibrations, etc. But when it comes to like the actual 5D shift, if you were in 5D right now, you'd be seeing all the spaceships, you'd be seeing all the grays walking around, you'd be seeing all of the stuff around you that you'd be seeing the astral, you'd be seeing 4D and 5D. Because you see everything that is at your frequency and below, right? So if you're matching the frequency, if you're locked into 3D, you only see 3D. If you're locked into 5D, you see 5D, 4D, and 3D, if that makes sense. If you're in 7D, as Chantal says, 7D is an even higher frequency. In fact, I'm pretty sure 7D is one of those, it's the last dimension before everything is light, if memory serves me correctly, in what the Tegetans were teaching us about the different layers and dimensions, because they go like physical, non-physical, physical, non-physical. So you get like 3D is the physical, right? We're locked into that physical frequency, but it's not physical if you're in 4D. You can pass right through that if you're in 4D, because you're not locked into the frequency anymore. You're locked into a different frequency. But when you try and touch something in 4D, you can pick it up. You can manifest it. You can even put something like, I don't know, a crown on your head and be able to pick it up and touch it, because you're manifesting it into a different dimension that you are locked into. So when you are locked into 5D, you will be able to perceive 5D. It will become physical for you. And the same for 7D. If you are locked into 7D, then 7D would appear physical to you then. But I'm pretty sure after 7D, that is where it stops, where everything is basically non-physical from then on. And it becomes layers of like light or something. I'm pretty sure that's what they said, where it's like the light realms after that. And the lines get less defined. You know, it's almost like people... There's no animosity. There's no fighting in those layers, because everybody is kind of aware that you are everybody, and their connectedness doesn't, you know, there's no illusion of separation at the higher realms. So it's like you're aware then that any act of aggression against someone else is an act of aggression against yourself. And therefore you don't bother at that point, because you're just like, I ain't stabbing myself in the back. You know, that's kind of what it is in 7D. You're just like, I would never hurt anyone because I would only be hurting myself. But we don't have that understanding down here. We aren't aware that anytime you hurt somebody else, you're actually self-sabotaging yourself karmically. So that's why all of this complication is really important to kind of, like I said, stop sugarcoating so we can work through it and understand it, rather than, you know, miss out on a lot of the important information just because we don't like it. Because when that happens, we end up missing out on a whole lot of different interesting ways and aspects that the universe tends to react to things. Because there is a lot of gray areas. Nothing is black and white when it comes to the universe. And that's where we tend to work, eh? Honestly, the Spirit Release and Lost Soul Rescue, we tend to work in the gray areas of all of this. I'm going to be talking about this a lot more. For those of you who are interested, I do have my class this weekend. I'll share the link for that. For those of you who are interested in attending, I have my class this weekend on Sunday, on Groundhog Day. I love Groundhog Day. I always watch the movie Groundhog Day. So I'll probably do that after class on Saturday, on Sunday. So yeah, it's $33. It's a 3-hour class. I teach all about astral projection. I teach about all the different layers, all the different dimensions. Yes, I will kind of reiterate a little bit of what I talked about today. You guys get a little bit of a freebie from there today. So what do we need to bring to class? I actually will be sending every single one of you my 26-page write-up that I basically, it's like a mini book that I wrote that I will be reading to you guys, that I will be answering questions and going through, and I will be sending that to you as well. So you do not need to take notes, just for the record. I will send you the notes. So if there's anything you would like, and you will get the recording as well. So if you guys can't attend live, you will have the recording and you will be able to go back and make more notes later if you really wish to. But for the most part, there's a lot of information in there. Like I said, like 26 pages of information we'll be going over, which is why it's a 3+ hour class. The Law of One book is kind of confusing. Resonate with some of it, but not all as of now anyway. Well, this is the thing, right, Keisha? I don't resonate with anything that all want to. Sorry. I resonate with teachers, but I don't always resonate with everything they say. Take it, as Dolores would say, knowledge is like a buffet. You take the things you like and you leave the rest. If you are feeling that something does not resonate, maybe it'll resonate later. Maybe there's some context missing. Maybe there's something that is kind of blocking that understanding. Maybe it's bullshit. You never know. So this is why it's best to use discernment, to take what resonates and leave the rest. If it doesn't resonate, that's fine. Completely understandable. For example, like I love Bashar, even though I am really like confused as to why he was promoting some shit that I didn't agree with. Doesn't mean I don't still like him. I may have some trust issues with everybody. Doesn't mean I don't trust somebody to a degree, at least until I catch them out in a lie. So I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, really, and just take what resonates. See how you feel. No, I am not near Punxsutawney. I am outside of Harrisburg. I'm miles from there. What is Groundhog Day? Amanda. Alma's from Malta. She's like, what are you talking about? Groundhog Day. It's a movie. You got to check it out. It's with Bill Murray. And oh my God, it's such a perfect analogy for life. Because if you guys think of it, right? This is one of the reasons why it's one of my absolute favorite movies, right? So for those of you who have not seen Groundhog Day, it's about a guy who is a weather reporter, and he gets stuck in this town, this small town in Pennsylvania, where every year there's a groundhog that comes out, and if the groundhog sees his shadow and runs back to hide, then there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter, right? But if the groundhog doesn't get afraid and doesn't run, then apparently they say that we're going to have an early spring. I know it sounds absolutely. This is the funny thing is, it almost feels like some pagan ritual that has been like modernized and commercialized like they normally do. So it's definitely an American celebration day. Yes, we have a very fat groundhog that we rip out. We bring it out of a cage. We hold him up like it's like, Simba to everybody, and then we put him back in the cage. So it's really funny. But the thing about the movie is, right, is this guy Bill Murray is so miserable doing the story on this groundhog that he basically was like, this is the worst day of my life, right? And then he wakes up the next day and it's Groundhog Day again. It's the exact same day over again. Like he had just restarted a loop. We were talking about death loops. This was like a life loop where he wakes up and he's in the same day. Like everybody is going to, Groundhog Day again. And he's like, what the hell is going on? And he ends up, how many times did he relive the same day over and over? I'm going to Google that. How many times did Bill Murray live the same day over and over? I'm curious. Does it tell you? Oh, no way. Holy shit, you guys. According to the canon from this movie, he lived the same day approximately 12,400 times, equating to 34 years. Okay, that was a lot bigger than I expected. I did not see that coming. I thought it would be a couple hundred times. I was fully expecting it to be like 300 times. No, it says that, right? Wow. Is that really true? Wow. Okay. Okay, well, it says the movie also mentions an additional 414 days. That doesn't even make sense. Why am I seeing two completely different answers here? Anyway, it's either 414 days or 33 years. What an interesting disparity between the two. So yeah, apparently he relived the same life over and over, same day over and over again. And the only time, I'm not going to ruin the movie, but there's a reason why he finally gets it to stop. So now you have to watch Amma. You have to watch Groundhog Day. But if you think about it, right, funnily enough, it's almost like what we're experiencing here on Earth, because we end up reliving this similar lifetimes over and over and over and over again, especially, in regards to the lessons that we tried to learn. And yes, Imbolc is the Earth coming alive. Yes. So this is actually kind of a pagan celebration that was commercialized and modernized, as they do. I can still hear the song on his radio in the radio chat. Buckle up, it's cold out there. I still remember the Sonny and Cher song that plays every time he wakes up. The Sonny and Cher song, and every time he would beat up his alarm clock, he would smash his alarm clock because he was playing the same song. Such a funny movie. Supernatural has a Groundhog Day episode. Dean gets unalived every day for months, and Sam tries to stop it. No way. I don't remember that episode. See what I mean? Supernatural covers everything, I swear. So yeah, for you guys that are interested in joining me, there's the link, and I would love to see you guys join me on Groundhog Day for our chat all about these things. It's going to be very interesting. I love it. Anytime you guys want to discuss these things, feel free to ask questions, because this is one of my favorite subjects. I love talking about, because if you think about it, anything that you don't master, that you don't learn, you end up repeating in some other form. And so I don't know about you guys, but I am tired of repeating the same lessons over and over. So anytime there's an opportunity to learn from these things and step outside the hamster wheel, so to speak, we'll take that opportunity. Pamela says, what do your guides think about ChatGPT? Well, anytime I make anything AI on here, whether it's art or even if I'm just kind of messing around with stuff, they're always telling me to clear my cookies and my stuff for the AI, because they're constantly finding AI on my computer. Constantly. AI is everywhere. And considering how much the government is planning on rolling out billions of dollars worth of AI, I can only imagine how much worse it's going to get. Because AI is everywhere, and it's becoming a problem. Like, we're finding implants that are AI. We're even finding AI entities now. Like, we already have enough entities on this planet. We don't need AI versions, but now we do. We find AI versions of them too. And we're like, what the hell? As if we don't have enough shit on this planet to clear. Now they're going to make like technological versions of shit. I found an AI octopus on somebody. That really threw me through the loop, I must say. That's the beauty that we forget when we are born, because then we'll get crazy. Can you imagine, though? This is what I laughed about when I was talking with the soul guides the other day during one of my friends' Akashic Records readings, and they expressed that she lived the same shit over and over again for like 100 lifetimes. The same shit with the same people over and over again. And her soul guides are like, oh my God, I've seen this movie so many times. Like, because if you think about it, it may be new to you. It's like, well, this movie seems familiar. You know, you bump into people and you're like, you seem really familiar. And it's like, well, yeah, you've only met them 100 times in other lifetimes doing the same shit. Like, I wonder why you're so familiar. So imagine how annoyed the soul guides must be getting when they've seen the same movie 100 times, just with the same actors in different bodies. They're probably going, oh my God, like, they're probably making bets. I wouldn't be surprised if I was a soul guide, right? And I'd be bored. I'd be like, all right, I tell you what, you're going to draw the short straw on this one if she does this and this and this again. And they'd be like, no, she's not going to do that again. She's got it this time. And then shit, she did it again. Like, damn. So, you know, it's funny, like the soul guides, they probably get real like frustrated to a degree seeing us repeat the same shit over and over again. So I have a feeling they're just as excited about the dismantling of the 3D matrix as we are. Groundhog Day for the soul guides. Yeah, basically. Yes, exactly. So you just never know. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go check out my little guy, because yes, my little man is homesick. If you guys are also feeling under the weather, make sure that you're taking lots of self-care, lots of rest. I'm so grateful for all the advice yesterday. Thank you guys so much. I had like 100 comments full of really awesome advice, and I got a whole bunch of medicine, including some colloidal silver and stuff. So thank you guys very much. I already completely forgot about some of these things, which it's really nice to have reminders. So many, many thanks to those of you who gave some good advice yesterday. And if any of you are feeling under the weather, scroll down through the page and look through some of the advice, because there's a lot of really good information on there about natural health and stuff. So if there's anything, and like I said, if there's a medium available over the weekend, ironically, Katie was like, we could do the Lost Soul Rescue on Sunday, but I'm busy all day Sunday with you guys. So I'm hoping that I can find a medium who is available on Saturday or even possibly today to do it. So fingers crossed. And I will update you guys as soon as that Lost Soul rescue is done. And I'll probably even record it and include you guys if you would like to see it. So anyway, I hope you all have the most magical weekend. And if there's anything you guys need, feel free to hit me up. Mwah! Love you guys. I will see you all on Monday. Have a good weekend. Bye.